Another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, here we are again. Back by popular demand. I have Miss Camille here with this. Everybody knows Camille Bransom. She's like yes, of course, the queen of Burleson.
Love it.
Yeah, you like that? He's throwing a few more sound effects.
I didn't know we were having an audience today.
Oh,
That's
yes.
awesome.
I hope we have an audience today.
But did you hear him?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Crazy.
Sure. Yeah, this is our 4-year anniversary. And since Camille was part of the beginning of the show, I thought we'd just chit-chat, reminisce, talk about the last 4 years and whatever else comes into mind, just what we've been doing. And, just having a nice and informal show because I can rant about Joe Biden next time. Actually, next week I'm all booked up, too.
Oh, man.
And that, well, no, that's good.
It's good. Well, it's good, but it's tough for us people who want to be on your show. We just can't get in.
Well, yeah, I think the next open date is the 18th.
Of October?
No, September.
Oh, September.
No, I usually have a couple open dates a month. But back when we started, they were all open dates. I think my first guest may have been Jane Burton at Next Step.
Was that your first one?
I think
we did the first one at the Hub.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about first show, but the first time I had somebody other than you or I on
Oh.
it. I'm talking about the first outside guest.
Somebody, yeah, okay. Was it Jane and Susie?
I know. Just Jane. Well, her daughter was with her, Teresa.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure I was here for that.
Well, you probably were. I think you were. And Teresa didn't do a lot of talking, but...
okay. Yeah, I love Jane. I feel like I've seen her several times.
Mm-hmm. And we've had... the first, I guess, politically oriented guest, if you will, was Ken Cheddar. Mm-hmm. And I remember one show we did, and we're on the edge of COVID, and I said, well, tell us what's going to happen. He says, oh, I'm not really quite sure. And then 2 hours later, they announced the shutdown, and so, okay, geez, you could have announced it on my show and did me a favor, but apparently they hadn't formally announced it yet. And well, anyway. We're going to run over the first group of sponsors. I've grouped them up now because I've just got so many. Oh, my gosh.
I know. It's crazy.
Well, I have a couple that are original sponsors. They're here from day one, and one of them has been CrossFit Burleson. They were there from the beginning. Daniel has been a very supportive person, and now that he's sold the business, he wants to continue to support not just them, but this program because I guess he likes what we do, and he likes to have an outlet for particularly the nonprofits. He's involved in some of those, and so that's been very good. But CrossFit Burleson on 317, say it right, 317 Southwest Wilshire, they have the plans, they have the classes, they have the trainers, they have the supervision. So you're not going to be out there by yourself if you want to get into a CrossFit regimen. So just give the ladies a call. That'd be Lexi and Bailey. They were on the show in June, and they told us about some of the plans they have. So check it out. Also, Shandy, another original sponsor. I've been trying to get her on the show, but she really is pretty busy. She's doing more than just real estate, but she always has time for you. Real estate is a bit slower now. I talked to her a little bit about it last week, and it's a little slow, but in other places it's dead. So we still have market activity going on, and she can help you with that market activity. And you need somebody to do it. She sold my daughter's house back in July, and I would never have been able to navigate that myself. That would have been a real problem.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, what really makes about real estate is all the paperwork and all the procedures and all the obstacles and, and this bump in the road and that bump in the road. And I'm like, this is bull. And she's like, this is normal.
Yeah.
And so she was all calm about it. So there you go. Also, of course, Auto, our place. We love Auto.
We do.
I go there, I would say about 4 times a month, usually for breakfast type foods.
I thought you were going to say 4 times a week.
No, but he does have people that go there literally 2 to 3 times a week or every day.
I think it's every day, yeah.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, you don't have to cook at home, and the food is really good.
Yes, it is.
And I'm not just saying it because he sponsors me and all that, but I really do think it's the best breakfast place in town and lunch place in town, and it wins awards for that. So I guess I'm not alone in that judgment. Also, next Tuesday we're going to have the boys at Wild Cigar on. We're going to have, I know Nathan, he'll be here. Chris is going to try to make it. He actually has a day job, so he's going to try to make it. We're going to talk about some of the plans that Wild Cigar and Culture has for the football season, for the fall, all this other stuff, and it's not too soon to be talking about Christmas. So, gift cards and all that other stuff are really good. So if you want to have a decent drink, you want a decent cigar, it's a really good place to go. I was there last week. A little sponsor care, if you want to call it that, and we made the arrangements for next week's show, and it's just it's a nice place. It's a very open place. It's everybody is welcome there, so it's a good place to go for those kind of things. Also, I'm going through all this stuff here. Got to go through all the various groupings. We got Tiffany over at Local Life. The magazine is out. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I just got mine yesterday.
What is on the cover?
I cannot remember. Sorry. I'm a little distracted lately.
You got a lot of things going on, do you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll see it pretty soon. I know that several businesses have it, other than just goes to homes, of course, like you just mentioned. But I know that Auto has it. I know there's a couple of auto dealers or auto repair shops that have it on their coffee table and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I keep it when we get them in the hub, I take that one in the Burleson now and place them about so people can see what's going on in
Well,
it.
I can just go by there.
Awesome. Yeah, come by the hub.
I'll be there.
We got you.
Nearby.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if you've heard this. I hope you have. The Burleson Buzz. Cody O'Brien is trying to replicate the Burleson Star in a sense. A local newspaper.
Who's that?
His name is Cody O'Brien. He's a young man and he and another young man named Master Nix are trying to create like a local news source, just like
in print?
No, it's online.
Okay.
But it has a print type format in the sense of what it wants to.
Like an ebook.
Well, yeah, but it wants to talk about city council meetings and school board meetings, things that the Star used to cover.
Okay.
And they cover the railroaders, and they cover, if there's any kind of event in Burleson, they cover it. And they cover it as journalists, not as, opinion makers or whatever you want to call it. So I subscribe to it. It's very affordable, very cheap. And so if you want to kind of keep up with what's going on in Burleson, because there's a lot of stuff going on in City Council this month.
Yeah.
And so that's a good place to get it. Speaking of City Council, on the 19th of this month, what is the day? 12 days from now, I'm going to have both Adam Russell and Victoria Johnson on. And we can talk about the vote they took yesterday, about the tax rates and other things. That's got people interested, you might say.
It's a nice word, nice way to say it.
Well, it's a confusing topic, and I really appreciate them coming here and explaining their thinking. I do find it assuring in some ways that it was a unanimous vote, so it's going to be hard to try to make a political issue out of it because all 7 of them said yes. But I don't know all the details yet, and I'll let Victoria and Adam explain it to me.
Okay.
All righty. Back to the show. People ask me, how did you get into podcasting? Really, the original genesis of this was Robin, my wife, because I just had moved on from Southwest Christian and was going to start a DBU. And I'd been at Hill all this time. And I'd read the stuff and I'd, want to engage her in conversation. She goes, look, she gives me 15 minutes a week to talk about current events.
Oh.
And I could use them all at once or at 5-minute chunks.
Spread them out.
Yeah, I could, I reserve my time.
For her.
Yeah, and then when I get to the end, ding, turn the page. That's her quote.
You're done.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she said, you got to make money off of this other than school. And I think she was being kind of not sarcastic, but ironic or whatever.
Yeah.
And my first attempt was a disaster. I'll just leave it at that for a lot of various reasons. But I really thought in August of 2019, well, that was a failed experiment, so move on with your life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at you now.
Yeah, well then.
I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, you've been consistent. You've been interesting. You've opened it up. I think it's awesome.
Well, Taylor,
Yes.
and another young man named Jared, and then Justin Bond, who people know, were investing in the studio, and they said they wanted to have a podcast.
Yeah.
And they were investing in local legends, which, of course, like we talked about, was in the hub.
Yeah.
And so I met them at Dwell, and he said, you could do this, do the show, and you can, comment on this and that. My biggest concern was funding. All right. And that's where Daniel and Shandy and a third party, who's no longer a sponsor of the show, said, they stepped up with the plate. And so they made it so that I didn't have to go into my own pocket. I wasn't making much money, but I wouldn't have to spend money to do it. And we started off with half-hour shows twice a week, and now we do an hour show roughly 3 times a week. And I'd like to do a 4th show, but, you got to make expenses work on that one. And so we started doing it. I think my first show I did was something, Trump was still president, there's something about I want to say it was something about immigration, not integration, immigration, but that's about it. I can't remember exactly.
We can go back and look.
They could, but
We should go back and pull all the highlights from all the shows.
not today. That's too much.
Well, not today, but
Yeah.
sometime.
Well, as far as highlights, I mean, I don't know.
You know, your favorite guest, your funniest guest, your most exciting guest.
You're my favorite guest.
Well,
I mean,
of course.
that's easy.
Oh my gosh, it's taken 4 years for me to finally get that. I knew I was your favorite student, but I didn't know I was your favorite guest. Thank you. Wow.
Well,
made my day.
no, I tell you, I've had some really good guests. I like the ones, particularly that are on fairly consistently, because I've gotten to know them other than just as a, one-off interview or something like that. I mean, and there's so many good people in this town. There really is. I mean, of course, during election season, some of the moonbats come out and act, the goofy ones and all this other stuff. But as far as the majority of these people, the vast majority of the people of Burleson, there's some good people doing good work. And I've been very fortunate to sit here and see it. They come through and they're promoting these nonprofits or their business and their, whatever. And they're just good people doing good things. And we have so many of those that so far outweigh the knuckleheads on the fringe of Facebook and that kind of stuff. And it's, I'm very, very fortunate because I see it in a global way that most people don't.
Yeah.
As far, you still contemplating your own podcast, or is that kind of on the back burner until you get certain things straightened out?
No, I'm not contemplating. It's going to happen.
All right.
It's just I've had a few things going on that have kept me from keeping a schedule. And so, but kicking it with Camille is coming back, working on guests. I've got them booked kind of from here forward, in the future. So as soon as time permits, I will do that.
What kind of show is it going to be? Just a community book-based show?
It's going to be a mad show. People making a difference.
I like that. Okay. I think, I thought don't they get enough of that on Dan Bongino or whatever?
Exactly. No, I mean, through the hub and through church and everything that I do, it's like there's so many people that I have something that the world needs to hear. And not that I have a worldwide audience yet, but
one day.
You never know who's going to hear that, and you never know what life is going to change. So I'm looking for difference makers, positive people, so that kind of thing.
Well, when I first started this, I thought if I got 30 listeners, I was doing pretty good. Now I got more than that. Some shows get more than others. The nonprofits do pretty well. It's really interesting how when I do a solo show and I'm yelling about Biden or Trump or whatever, I get more Apple and Spotify downloads. When I am doing these kind of shows, or particularly nonprofits, I get a whole lot more Facebook and YouTube views.
Yeah.
Because they share it around.
Well, it makes people feel good, and it shows that you're not, when you share your platform like that with something so important, that's huge.
Well, I'd like to think so, but I don't know how much difference I've made for them, but I know they made a difference for me, and they make a difference for this community. Sure, I get the word out a little bit, but they're the ones doing all the hustling.
Well, of course, but you know what? Maybe someone never heard of them until and you may validate it. Someone thinks the world of you, and if you stand for it, they're going to listen.
Well, okay, fine.
I think that's true.
But I hope so. But it's, I've gotten to meet some of these people. I'm like, how do you find the energy? And that's really another show I'm promoting is on the 21st of this month is National Giving Day.
Oh, I love that.
And we're going to have about at least 6 that I know of the nonprofit leaders here.
Yeah.
We did it last September, and it was one of the best shows I ever did.
Yeah, and if they're doing donations this year, historically we will be a collection point if anyone needs it. So we're right there on Renfro and 35. So if any of those people that you're interviewing need a drop-off point, we will be happy to do that and keep their stuff safe until they come get it.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Maybe you ought to drop by during that and tell them that, because they'll all be sitting here on the couch or we're going to have some chairs out and stuff like that. And last year, they just come and run through the show, boom, 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 every 10 minutes. And what really struck me was just how much they rooted for each other, how they cared for each other personally, how they lifted each other up, because they're all, trying to, do good things, but they never saw it as a competition. They never saw if, Crazy Eight gets $1, then I'm not going to get $1. No, they looked at it as, everybody
wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And it was really, really sweet to see how they pull for each other. And I'm hoping to talk to them at some point about the personal side of it.
Like what made them get into that?
That, or how they maintain their drive and enthusiasm for what is a difficult job. It is
when you're
difficult.
passionate about it, though, you just keep on keeping on.
Well, I know, but
Taylor and I, some people did that thing during COVID. It was a butt whipping, but man, we got up every day and we went out in the middle of nowhere and hauled stuff and acted. It was, if you want to help people, you just want to help people. I think you can't take that from someone.
Well, they get it. These nonprofit, they're all run by women. Well, I mean, there are men involved, but the women are the ones that are in charge.
That goes to show you who's superior here.
Well, they're the ones that, that's not fine. Whatever. But anyway, the thing about it is like, they're getting it on both ends because they see so much need. Every one of the people I've talked to, Lisa Schwartz or Debbie Beeman at Promises or Jennifer Woods at Harvest House and on, or Megan and Summer at Next Step. The need is growing, not just a little bit, but a lot of bit. All right, and so it's very stressful on their budgets. And then on the other hand, they're constantly having to raise money, and that is fatiguing.
But there's people that are great at that.
They're good at it and they do it, but it's sometimes I know Jennifer and Debbie both said they'd gone to bed thinking, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow because we don't have the resources. And then somewhere, somehow, God provides the resources that day. Somebody, they told me stories about people pulling up in box trucks saying, well, I got all this stuff here. I can't, all this food, canned food or whatever, or box food. And I heard you needed something, that kind of thing, these last minute miracles. And so I guess that keeps them going. But we're going to talk about how, it can be very stressful because you're dealing with a very high demand group in a sense, a needy group.
Yeah, well, and in this time and day and time, anywhere you look, you're going to see a need if you just open your eyes.
I've been seeing this a lot more. The people wandering the streets, and I've seen them here in Burleson now, which a year ago or 2 years ago is not quite as common.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing them guys walking.
It's growing rapidly.
And we talk about that a lot, both with the nonprofits and with Victoria. And the city understands that it's a growing concern.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how they're going to address that, but we'll see. I don't know if we have the budget for it.
I don't think that we do have a budget for anything like that right now. It's typically been more of a south of here and north of here type situation where they had the resources. I don't know if we just maybe haven't had the resources, or it's a tough battle anyway, though, because, when you talk about that, the police have one idea about it because sometimes they can be a nuisance. And then the people like me that are suckers, we have a different opinion, and I understand that there's risk and that there could be other things that are negative that go with that, but everybody else around here has some kind of policies to help.
Fort Worth and Tarrant County are much better funded than we are for this kind of thing.
Right.
I do believe if we start seeing people in tents in this area,
they won't last long. I think once they make a camp, it seems like they're pushed out.
Well, yeah, but you go downtown Fort Worth and you see it all over the place.
Yeah, of course.
But you're going to. That's to me the biggest concern I have about Burleson coming up is this growing population, and they'll tell you that most of the homeless are not like wandering the streets or living in tents or living in cars or they're couch surfing.
Yeah,
Lisa will tell you that, Jennifer will tell you that, Debbie will tell you that we have this issue of people that are just day-to-day living, and we don't see it in Burleson because we don't have tent city. We don't have tents everywhere.
Yeah,
and we don't see you. But I'm seeing it more now, where I see just people walking up and down the road.
Yeah, I think there's a family or a group of kids or young adults that live down by the railroad tracks by my house. I see them coming in and out of the woods. It's like, whoa.
Well, and if I hear people will tell me that some of the more wooded areas of Burleson, they'll occasionally come across a tent of some sort or some sort of evidence that somebody had stayed there overnight or had been staying there for a few days and that kind of thing.
Well, but with our economic development growth in our town, that they're like the animals. You're like, there's coyotes in town now. We take their environments and then what do?
Yeah.
They got to move on.
We having coyotes in Burleson?
Oh
really?
My gosh, yes. There was one the other night, just right in the middle of town.
I did not know that. We get occasionally, very, very occasionally out where I live, we can hear the coyotes more than we see them. I've lived out there 30 plus years. I've probably seen coyotes maybe half a dozen times.
Really?
Best. Yeah, you don't see them unless you're up at 2 a.m., but you hear them.
Yeah.
But as far as that kind of thing about coyotes in town, I read that same thing's happening up in the Collin County towns.
Oh.
Frisco and McKinney and whatnot, because of the same thing, because of the developments going on.
Well, yeah, we're right on 35, so think about how easy it is for somebody to get, hey, there's a town, here you go, see you later.
Oh, well, that's part of it as well. Shandy will tell you that one of the reasons why Burleson real estate's still moving, even if the rates are higher than they should be and that kind of thing, is because of the fact that we are on the main road, but also we can get to Fort Worth pretty quick. I mean, it's only 15 minutes for me to get to downtown.
Yeah, you can get to downtown faster than you can get to HEB.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Just about. Oh, that's no joke.
Well, that is no joke.
The traffic, I tell you, is, on Renfro is getting to be pretty intense. And I'm talking about east of the highway, but, when that new development comes fully online, it'll be even more so.
Which new development are you talking about?
It's called Hunter Estates. It's you go down East Renfro, and it's about
on the left, past the curve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that.
About a tenth of a mile from Renfro One Stop, and
right before Bennett's.
Well, that used to be Bennett's.
Oh, what is it now?
It's called Renfro One Stop. It's been called that. It's been under new ownership for 5 or 6 years now.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all that stuff that the Bennett's own, the lube joint and all that other stuff, I think is in other people's hands now.
Interesting. Okay.
But I know the One Stop now is owned by a different gentleman. I don't know him personally, but there you are. I met him, but I don't know him.
Okay.
But anyway, I understand they have some really good hamburgers there.
They really do. They have good food there.
Yeah,
I've eaten there many times.
So I had to try it if I ever get my diabetes and whipped into shape. But
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I know. I'm not as young as you are.
No one can be as young as me.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're all pink here. I called you Barbie, and you're like, oh.
No, I
beg to differ.
Pink and chrome are my favorite, and pink, chrome, and green, my favorite colors always have been. So I didn't just jump on the Barbie craze, although I do have a Barbie shirt.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah. Grace came in for the weekend, and we went and watched it. She wanted to see it.
I think I'll pass.
It was different. I mean, your life won't be terrible for it, but
it's not a movie that I think is meant for old coots like me.
No, I think there's actually a lot of underlying messages in the movie.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I probably wouldn't go see it again, but I mean, I'll go wherever Grace wants to go. So.
Well, I don't go to the movies that much because I just don't like the way crowds behave at movies.
Yeah.
I just as soon wait. I'll get it on pay-per-view or when it gets on Amazon Prime and watch it at home.
Yeah, I like it when I can pause it. I kind of have a short attention span.
or I can I like that scene. I'll see it again.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
Oh, you know what the favorite? How many times have you rewound the scene with The Rock and Kevin Hart when he does the flip?
I'd never seen that movie.
Oh my gosh! Can you find that, Taylor? This day will not be the same. You know what I'm talking about? The Golden Jet? Oh, Lord. Look up the Golden Jet with The Rock. And, yeah.
Will we be violating copyrights?
If we show it like a little video? I don't know. I just think everyone needs to see this before they die.
Well, okay. But, that was one of the first obstacles we had is that we wanted to play music and stuff like that. But Facebook is very, very difficult about that. And the copyright issues were just too much. And I tried to do an alternative route. My friend Scott and I put together Burleson Radio. But we just never took off. It just would not get the traction we needed to justify the expense.
What do you think happened there?
It's hard to break through that.
Yeah.
We would advertise it here on the show and I do the usual Facebook and other stuff routine. I just think that a lot of people's listening habits are pretty well set or, not just on radio, but also they play, Spotify or iTunes or whatever, or their personal collections when they're driving around.
Was that just music?
It was, yeah. Well,
you didn't do any shows on there?
Well, we put this show on here.
Okay.
On the show, on Burleson Radio. And there was another show that we put on there. And my goal was to have several of the stuff that they do here be put on there. But it just, I was getting almost negligible listenership.
Yeah.
But, and it was basically we had my songs, Scott's songs, other songs we put together, and we have a very wide range of taste. We had about every type of genre except rap, I guess.
No rap?
No rap.
Well, that's what happened.
But, and I would have special shows like, favorite songs from the 70s or shows, songs from the 80s, new wave, Texas blues, all this other stuff. And we get like just a hit here or there, but it just after a while, it's like we're putting a lot of work into this and not getting very much listenership, and I'm spending money on it that's just not going anywhere.
Did you do any live stuff, like local artists live?
Well, we wanted to, but that would cost a lot more to do it.
Oh, yeah.
If I did like live spots.
Oh, because it would take more equipment.
Well, it would take more programming, not so much the equipment.
Okay.
But if you wanted like do live radio, like AM, FM kind of stuff, it would be about 3 times as expensive as what I was doing.
Okay.
And as far as like ads on the show, I would sometimes run these guys. If they had something like a pre-made thing, we'd throw it in the mix.
Local events and stuff like that.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of ads, I want to do another run here. These are all friends of yours. These are B&I ads.
I love them.
Yeah, I know. We miss you. All right, Southern Jim. By the way, Gabriela was on. Oh, look at that.
Southern Jim, I finally got this out of layaway.
All right, well, okay.
It's beautiful.
Well, you'll have to show it on camera in a minute.
Okay.
But Southern Jim is having a big chamber event next Tuesday.
At the network at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you want to be there for that. Have you been? You've been to the new store, right? The new location.
Oh, yes. No, I have not been.
Downstairs? You haven't been to downstairs?
I've been to the new one.
All right. Well, it's downstairs, of course, now. It's on the 3rd floor of the Windmill Building. It's much bigger. Decor-wise, it looks pretty similar, but it's it's still very nice. And
It's got to be huge in there, huh?
Yeah, it's about 3 times as big, yeah.
Okay.
And what I like about it, and I've told her many times what a smart idea was, she has a little bullpen area to drop the husbands off, and they can have a beer. And
I heard that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Watch TV or whatever.
They
and
just
read.
need a credit card deposit,
That's right.
and then they need to go have their rest and their man time, and then they can tell them when they're ready to go.
They're already getting wish lists for Christmas.
I'll bet they are.
And you think, wow, Christmas is 110 degrees outside and all this other stuff. It's like having Christmas in hell, basically. But as far as she's concerned, she'll tell you, you better start shopping in October at the latest, because if you want something repaired, you want something redesigned, you want something like an old family heirloom spruced up or whatever, the closer you wait to Christmas, the more unlikely it is you're going to get it back in time for Christmas.
Right.
All right. But she's going to be on the show in early November, and she's got all sorts of deals going on. So she's pretty good. She's a very good entrepreneur.
Yes, she is.
Also, our friends at Old Pro Roofing, John Williams. You know his dad, Greg, pretty well.
I do?
Yeah. You know Greg Williams?
Oh, that's Greg's son?
Yes.
You've got to be
Stooley
kidding
Mitchell?
me.
No.
That is, my goodness. I did not know that.
Yeah, he's a very fine young man. He came out to do.
Well, I met him, but I did not know that was Greg's son.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And Old Pro is owned by local folks. And
They're 2 doors down from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have John Williams, 817-734-2756. He came out to my house about 6 weeks ago, check out my roof, and said, you're good to go. So he's not going to try to sell you something that you don't need. And that's a good thing.
I cannot believe that.
You're blown away, huh?
I am blown away by that. Sorry.
Well, he's a very fine young man. And
Of course he is, if Greg's his dad.
well, they are a good family, aren't
Yeah. Oh, I love them all.
they? Yeah.
And I guess I love John too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Also, you know this person, of course. This would be our friend Dee Dee Simpson over at Thrive. She's.
I love that product.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Love
it really
it.
is. Several of us at B&I use it.
Yeah.
And she basically, I asked her, what would you want for the people to know about what you would do? And she gave us a nice little sort of thing. So she says, any small business that wants to save money, save time, and build their online presence or garner leads should at least have a free consultation with me. And that's a good thing, because I can personally vouch for the fact if you hook up with Thrive through Dee Dee, she will hold your hand until you understand.
She really will. Yeah.
What's going on.
And you guys, and I let her use the hub too to me. So several people inside there have done it. And I will tell you sorry, you're in the middle of something.
No.
Well, the best thing I wish I'd have done Thrive when I opened. I probably have 20 locations.
You think so?
Yeah, well, maybe not 20. I don't want 20, but it takes everything out there and all of the interwebs and all of the emails, and it puts it in one spot for you. That to me is a lifesaver.
Yes.
And it schedules me, it keeps me on track. It's just, less people don't no-show. That sounded very, very
I
not
understand
grammatically correct. Yeah, so I mean, it's fantastic, and I'm a 100% believer in that deal.
Okay. Well, see, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank
That's
you.
why I bring you on the show, because you're.
So yeah, and if you want to know, you can come look at my system anytime at the office.
Well, we have several of us at B&I that use it, so
Yeah.
there you go. Also, this group here.
I do.
Yes, Stop Restoration with Lisa and Morris Smith, where they get get it right.
The first time.
The first, see, she got as well trained. Yeah, but if she was talking yesterday about other things besides biohazards. You think, what's a biohazard?
It's like a dead body.
That's one of them.
Yep.
Also, hoarders and trash and whatever stuff. And
they do hoarding cleanouts. Mm-hmm. Oh, they did a TV show.
Yeah, she did her presentation a couple of weeks ago, and it's like showed us the pictures like this. The trash bags up to the ceiling in this hoarder, and it's just really filthy.
So sad.
And then they show what they did afterwards. It looked like a human being could live there again, and and that kind of thing. Awesome. It also do for water damage, which everybody thinks is like a hurricane, but it also could be a leaky toilet or a
hot water heater. I had one of those.
Yeah, and you get mold and all this other stuff, and so. So give them a holler if you have such an event. Also, this lady too,
Candy,
yes, over at U Mortgage. Candy's done 2 refinances for me over the years I've lived in that house. I used it to one time pay for some school business for the kids, and also refinance for some repairs that we needed to have happen. So she's done it for me twice, and it's 817-925-2661. I can assure you'll get the best rates and the best deals.
Yeah, she's a great lady. We used to do a lot of events together when I was in Title. Mm-hmm. So
I think that's all of them. I don't know. But
is there any more sponsors?
No, okay. No.
Okay.
I'm always...
thank you.
Okay.
This is so awesome. Okay.
All right. We're going to see this. You're not going to hear it.
You can't hear it.
All right.
If you've not seen this, okay, watch.
Well, if it's on, it'll be on YouTube.
That's the best way we get to not have copyright.
Okay.
All right. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It will improve your life, make you feel better. Mm-hmm. You got to watch it with sound when you get home.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Allard.
Yeah, I got to run to the grocery store. It's one of my most common things to do. I do a lot of the grocery shopping now.
Yeah.
And I go to both HEB and City Market.
Good for you.
For different reasons.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of the thing I've done. I've taken over since Robin works at the jewelry store now.
Right.
You were asking before, so some of the things that I most remember about the 4 years, so to speak. And I've already talked about the nonprofits. And that's probably one of the first things that come to mind. Somebody's asked, have you ever had a guest that you had to shut down or anything like that? No, I've had to shut down a couple of people put comments on the screen.
Yep.
But as far as like, okay, Taylor hit the kill switch, that's never happened.
Yeah.
Even people have had on the show that there was a couple of times I wondered, was I wise in bringing this guy on? But it worked out and no big deal.
Yeah.
During the election season, you've been a lifelong Burleson resident.
Yes.
Did you pay much attention to politics when you were like in your 30s and 40s? Local politics?
Not near as much as I did later. Mm-hmm. But you just tell my age. Oh my gosh.
No.
I think that was decades ago.
No. When you were a child in the 80s. Okay.
I graduated, in 91.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so I wore the really bad clothes during the 80s. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying, the politics has it surprised me a little bit. Since around 2020, it's gotten pretty rough.
Yeah, it has. It's embarrassing.
And sometimes I get caught in the middle of that. And sometimes I put myself in the middle of that.
But you're a political guy. I mean, that's your passion. That's what you teach. That's what you.
And people ask me, why don't you put all the candidates on there? I said, I'm not going to give a platform to somebody who I don't think has the best interests of Burleson at heart. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily I would vote for them as the reason why or not. Because I've had people on the show that, first of all, I can't vote in city elections, right? So but I've had people on the show that are good people that I would vote for their opponent because of other reasons, personal connections, long-time acquaintances, whatever. So that's not the deciding point whether I'd vote for them or not. The deciding point is, are they in it for the good of the school district or the good for the community?
Right.
And if they're going to be what I think is going to be using that platform for other things other than the good of the community, they can take it business elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I get criticized for that sometimes. They think I'm playing favorites and said, well.
But you know what? Aren't you allowed to do that if you wanted to?
It's called Mr. Allard's neighborhood.
I believe so.
Not
well, we're entitled to your opinion, not.
But like I had all 5 of the candidates for school board on because all 5 of the candidates were legitimate quality people.
At the same time?
Not at the same time, no. But now, I couldn't vote for all of them, certainly, but I'm just saying they all, because I supported Shandy in the school election, but I'm very content with Dallas Owen winning because I know what kind of person she is.
Right.
Very sweet. And
sometimes we have really tough choices. It's hard to pick.
That was one of the harder choices.
I mean, we have had some tough choices, but not like, James, your question, I did pay attention in my 30s and 40s because we've always been involved in, small business, but not until, 2020 pretty much.
Yeah.
Or right before that. So.
And we got an election coming up in this spring. A couple of board seats on the school board and I think 3 city council spots. And the last election, 2 of the city council spots ran unopposed, so that was okay. The mayor's race got kind of rough.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this time, it won't be rough. No, that Dan McClendon, Victoria Johnson, and who's the third one that's running again? Somebody will tell me.
For mayor?
No. For their places.
Oh, okay.
Dadgummit. I'm going to feel like an idiot when somebody tells me.
Wait, so Victoria's running again for her spot?
Yes.
And Dan's running again for his spot?
Well, he hasn't told me that, but it's assumed.
Okay.
And there's a third one, and I'm like, it's not Adam. It's not Anderson. It's
Ronnie?
Not Ronnie. No, well, that's Ronnie's spot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, that would have been, Ronnie's filling in.
Is it that, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Ronnie. No, the former holder of that seat, Mr. Stanford, resigned.
Oh, he resigned?
Yes.
So he's no longer on council?
No. And so and Ronnie is going to fill in, but he's already said he's not going to run, so it's going to be an open spot.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
When did he resign?
Let's see, probably earlier this summer, not very long after the election.
Well, I sure didn't hear anything about it.
Well, I guess that's good.
Not that I was listening.
Well, what's happened also, to be frank, what's happening this summer is the city council members, now that all the drama and the people that brought drama to the council aren't on it anymore, we're having the typical political debates, which doesn't mean it's all, tea and cookies. I mean, it can get kind of personal and tough, but that's what politics is. And, not all this personal drama and, using the platform of the city council as a place to, work out your problems. It's what you're getting is basically the typical kind of political struggles you have, head knocking over taxes and, zoning and stuff like that. And that's what politics is. None of all this other junk.
Is Bill on the council or running for council, or he's on some board, isn't he?
Bill Janish?
Yeah.
No, he's on a couple of committees, but he's
committees.
Not,
okay.
If he's running, he hasn't told me.
Okay. He's just really great at policy, it seems like.
Well,
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe
but
not.
he also was a bomb thrower. Sorry, Bill. So I had no offense.
Not literally.
Not literally.
Yeah.
But
well, some people.
He has a very he'll state his opinion with not a lot of sugar on it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that kind of thing. But but he's a very good patron of this show, and we've had a lot of conversations. We've had conversations off the air, and
I think he loves Burleson.
He does.
Yeah, that's what I'm recognizing in him.
Yeah, that's what I would say is he cares about this community, and even he's the kind of citizen that we need to have to be involved. Involved citizenry makes it work. I've been preaching that all week in my classes because we're at that point in our
the involved kind that are willing to offer solutions and not just problems,
or not just to point attention to themselves,
right?
And
willing to do the work.
And I thought about briefly running for school board many years ago. Robin shot that down. I mean, before I even got out of the dugout, I couldn't even. She said, "Forget it. Go back.
Yeah,
back to the clubhouse. You ain't going." So, but I've seen now through the show just how much time it takes to be a good member of whatever your committee or board you're on. I'm like, Victoria is, she's very well prepared. And same with the school board members I talked to, like Stacy Eisner. I mean, they know all these details, and they didn't do that. Shannon Sutter says here, "Morning, good morning to you too. I love it when Bill approaches the podium. I listen. Well, you'll say his piece, and you won't have to worry about him putting too much syrup on it. So there you go. But it's the amount of preparation it takes to do this job right.
To do it correctly, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, because Victoria comes in, she has all this homework done. Now, she's a policy geek anyway, by her own admission. but it just still it takes a long time to wrap your head. I tell you another person I really, really appreciate and respect and always have is Sarah Carlson, because she does a lot of homework as a citizen. I mean, she's not an elected official where we expect it of them.
Yeah.
She does a lot of stuff, and I lean on her understanding of issues pretty good in a sense, because I know that she's done the homework, and she's always promoting Burleson on that Municipal Matters page.
Right.
And I get a lot of information, and every time after a council meeting, I'll pick her brain and see what she thinks, because she watches the meetings.
Yeah.
Maybe not in real time, but she'll have watched it.
Yeah.
And
they can be quite entertaining, quite interesting.
Yeah, well, but so there are people in this community have come to know. It's
Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, but there's other people like the Burleson Political Facts page, Jackie Jones. I appreciate what she does because it keeps a forum going. There are Burleson Residents and Neighbors, which Jonathan Cook here is, I think, one of the originators of it.
Yeah.
There's that forum. Sherry Scott and her blessing boxes, and she helps run Oak Valley area. Sherry Scott is a very, very good person. I really admire what she does with those blessing boxes. And, there's other formats like that, and people are putting it together to try to make Burleson work better. Yeah. And as far as the 3 or 4 nitwits that are like to throw stuff on people's Facebook pages or do nasty memes about whatever, well, I think they expose themselves to the community, what they're really like. Yeah. And but for every one of these knuckleheads, we got about 500 others that are doing what they can. They're bits big and small to make Burleson a better place. It's a better place now than when I first met you. Yeah. I came here in '88 to teach, and the year after you graduated, that summer is when we moved here. Yeah. And we're still in the same location.
So I guess it was 1988 when you realized I was your favorite student.
No, it was 90.
90, okay.
No, 88 I was teaching 7th grade.
Oh, then that wasn't me.
Yeah, it's, during 7th grade Texas
You
history.
got to my class as soon as you could. I know that.
Well, it's an interesting, that's a long story, actually.
It is. But it's...
But I got there, I was hired the Thursday night before school started. Yeah. And then so Monday morning they come in and they said, "Where's Peggy Barnes, Mrs. Barnes?" And when I said, "No, I'm your teacher,"
They all cried.
Well,
no, we love Peggy Barnes, but
yeah, there's a lot of people that were very disappointed. Now, most of them were mature enough to say, "Well, she's moved on to another job," but there was a few that resented me. Yeah, but they got over that quick enough.
I learned more from you than I don't know. I think you know what? Here's the thing: you treated us like people and not like students that were below you, beneath you. I always appreciated that. You talked to us as though we were capable of doing it, and if we weren't, you would teach us.
Well,
that's the truth. I'm not trying to. I don't get paid for this. I'm not a paid actor, okay? But no, I always appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. That was. I feel like the Lord put me in the right place at the right time with the right people. People say, "Oh, you were a great teacher," and all this sort of stuff. The best thing I had is that kids willing to learn. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter how great I was if they weren't willing to learn, and I was blessed that most of my students were willing to learn. Yeah, they were willing to be taught, as long as you didn't treat them like kids or whatever. Because right. I got these juniors and seniors in high school, and we're about to expect adult things out of them. Right. But I always felt like I was so blessed to be and have classes that students let me teach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you said stuff we were so used to just kind of cruising through, it was a small town at the time. Mm-hmm. Probably 18,000 people.
Something like that.
And now we're at 60,000 plus, not including the outskirts. So, from that time to this time, there's a lot of other factors. So, I guess we were kind of bored when you got there. So, well, there wasn't much to do, really.
Yeah, really. For kids. There's like 3 restaurants and outside of fast food.
3 restaurants, and I don't even know what we did for fun.
Y'all went to Fort Worth.
Well,
or you did things out in the country that we don't need to talk about now.
Well, hey, we rode horses through town. We rode horses to the bank. That was kind of fun.
Well, what I did like about Burleson back then, it being a small town, particularly in the schools, everybody knew each other, right? And if I had trouble with a student, I can go to Terry Ford and say, "Hey, this guy's giving me trouble. Don't worry, I'll call his daddy. I know him." From, he either they knew him from sports, or they knew him from church, they knew him from whatever. Yeah. Or his daddy owns this store or this business. I can give him a holler. So that was a lot of that, and so that helped. Yeah. It also,
Toby and Terry were really good kids.
yeah,
They worked with us at the grocery store while they were still in high school.
right.
I think they even came back during their college breaks. They're good kids.
Yeah, and so you get that kind of environment.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
And and you go to church, and then there's kids there or their parents or whatever, and that's not. I don't think that's gone in Burleson. I still think we think of ourselves as a small town.
Yeah.
We think of ourselves as still that country town in some ways, but we're a whole lot different now.
Yeah, we're not.
Well, it just
Some people are. Some is, but not so much anymore.
we're experiencing big city problems
Yeah.
that I don't know if we had back in 1991.
Yeah.
Like we talked about earlier with homeless people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think we did.
Or we're dealing with growth issues. I don't know what the big issues were back in the early 90s, but I'm sure there were the usual hair pulling and controversies then too.
I don't know.
But I know the school district went through a lot of controversies in the 90s.
Yeah.
But, because a lot of that is because of the growth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that had to do with, I think, a group of people who have been used to running things their way were now having to accommodate these strangers. And that some people did it and some people resented it,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And, they're also resented, I think, some of the bigger chains moved in too. Yeah,
Well, I kind of did.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, because in
would.
'91, I graduated early and went out to Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time I came home, which was like 2 weeks later,
Mm-hmm.
I was driving on 35 and thought I was in the wrong town because there was restaurants all up and down, like
Mm-hmm.
in a very short time. And that was crazy. And that was the beginning, I think, for me.
Well, what I always say, the real kicking off point for Burleson for me that I noticed happened in Fort Worth, the territory, but it was when they opened that Chili's. Because we
Chili's in Fort Worth?
Yeah, that Chili's and On the Border and all those on the east side of 35 are all in Fort Worth.
On Hewlin?
No. On the highway on 35.
Oh, yeah. Right there off Alsbury.
Yeah.
Past, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the city limits of Fort Worth, it's weird,
Gotcha,
the
yeah.
East side is 35 is Fort Worth, west side is Burleson. But, a lot of people consider it Burleson because it's
Right.
geographically right there.
Yeah.
But when they came in and On the Border came in and Old
Spring
Mexican
Creek,
and
Old
Spring,
Mexican.
right. And they were coming in, and why are they doing it there? And on the other side of the highway had to do with the fact they could sell, drinks and such,
yeah.
liquor and whatnot. That I think that started moving people thinking, hey, we want this in our town.
Yeah. Which that was a very different from the beginning,
Right.
as far as the alcohol debate. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then that I think also the fact is that they Albertsons it was in Burleson, but it's in Fort Worth, and they could sell beer and wine, but other stores couldn't.
Yep.
Plus the fact is that they seem to be taking a lot of business, and so they said a lot of people wanted to have that kind of store in the Johnson County part of Burleson. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were talking to H-E-B then, but that was another big deal when H-E-B came in.
It was a huge deal when Albertsons came in because they said, we're going to run all you small guys out of town. And guess who's still standing?
Well, I know why, too. City Market's still there. And,
Yeah.
And it has, to me, the same feel it had when your dad ran it.
Oh, yeah. And that's what they've done a great job doing that.
I think, and also there've been community citizens. I know Kurt does a lot of stuff with Next Step and others. But you go into City Market now, and I still call it Bransom's.
Yeah.
Everybody that has been here a long time, they know it's called City Market, but they still refer to it as Bransom's.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Because it's your daddy, and he was a big player.
Do you know why we changed the name?
Because somebody bought you? Is that
No. Because we sold it in 2003 in July after my brother passed away, and was still Bransom's. And then, but Kurt was younger, a lot younger, and he was going to have to do certain things to survive in business, like put alcohol, open on Sundays, sell lottery tickets. And Dad said, if I ever have to do that, I'll close. Not that it's a bad thing, but for him personally, he said, it will never be my fault you don't get to go to church with your family on Sunday. I don't care if you go, but you won't be my fault you don't. And you will not have a drunk driving accident because of me. And not that that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying that's instilled in me too. It's hard for me to sponsor events that are alcohol related. I enjoy them and I go and support them, but I can't It's just something that's, and I think that's smart, you know?
Well,
So at that point, we had to change the name when we do that. So
I guess that
it was not
sense.
it was not a source of conflict. It was very clear from the beginning. So
Well,
I'm proud of what they've done.
You walk into City Market, it's hardly a place I would consider to be a hard pusher of alcohol.
Well, no, and not that they are. No, and I don't mean anything negative about that for City Market, because I know it's necessary for them to be able to be competitive.
It would be tough to be competitive with
But
other
there's a lot of
stores in
age
town.
difference too between Dad and Kurt now. So
Yeah, it'd be very difficult to compete with HEB without some of those things.
oh yeah, but I mean I don't even see it as competition because they're so special. You know,
Well-
he and Jill both are just doing a great job.
Well, what I like about City Market is that, first of all, I know where things are. Mm-hmm. That's very.
And there's Weaver.
Is that the gentleman that has been there forever? That is
Well, he was not there when we had it, but he was there shortly after, and he's just kind of a staple.
He is. He's there every time I've been there.
Yeah.
And and it's nice. The service is good.
They'll
The
carry out
lady's
your groceries.
nice, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So they do things that are really special.
Yeah.
They've earned it, I think.
And they have everything I need.
Yeah.
But it's just there's a lot of places like that when I first got here were just hometown, and now they're being some are gone, some are being upgraded, shall we say? What used to be the country kitchens, now the porch. What used to be Old Country Steakhouse is our place.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I'm still kind of surprised a little bit that the old China King location is still.
It's out of business, isn't
Yeah,
it?
for it's been like 2 decades, but it's still an open building.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, why isn't that? But I do remember China Doll, the restaurant.
Where's that?
It used to be where the Winn-Dixie used to be, which is now Big Lots, I think, or something like that. So that's when I
Okay.
first got here, the Walmart was where Hobby Lobby is now.
Yep, that's right.
All right, and you go about 2 spots down, and there was China Doll.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it's good food.
They were pretty good.
They were really good. Now,
Yeah.
I would not want to read their health report,
No.
but
Nope, I wouldn't either.
but it's it's like I go there. The foods are kids liked it because you can go and get. They love those sugar biscuits and all this
Oh,
other
me
stuff.
too.
And and I'd go there and there'd be a roach on the wall. I'd slap it off the wall, But one time I took Robin there and she just said, "No, I can't get it."
She said, "Never again, Brad.
"Yeah, all right."
Never."
But it was really good. Really good.
It was tasty, yeah.
Yeah.
We went
And
there
then
a
of course Dairy Twin.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't get me started.
Yeah, Dairy Twin. Every time Ronnie's on the show, somebody bring back Dairy Twin. I know Taylor does.
We all do.
Yeah.
We need it back.
No, that
Bring
was-
it back, Ronnie. Bring it back.
That was a kind of place I thought these kind of Texas towns all have.
I mean, I have so many memories of my dad and I sitting there eating. He always got the jalapeno chili cheeseburger.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked the cheeseburger and chocolate shake and fries. Of course, that's why I'm diabetic now, probably. But,
Probably so. Yeah, it's probably Ronnie's fault. Ronnie, don't open it back. We need
Yeah,
Brad.
right. And there was that. There was Gina's Pizza, which is
Oh,
being
yeah.
renovated
Still
right
standing.
now.
Oh, it's being renovated? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh.
It was so good, but it was so weird. I mean, that salad that we all loved was just lettuce, white cheese, and a black olive. Mm-hmm. And that Italian dressing. Excuse me.
Yeah, and there was that. And then as far as other joints.
Oh, there was Golden Corral.
Golden Corral is what to go to there. Yeah, that was another one I would not want to read the health report for, but my son loved it as a little boy. And then they moved to the newer building, and it's fine, but it's just that old greasy old.
I had to go
dumpy
there with my Uncle
building.
Marvin every time we went to eat, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but doggone it, it's just fun. The food is all right, and just don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, just don't look, just eat.
There's a couple of places still open, and the barbecue joint Mojo still open.
Oh yeah, they're delicious.
Yeah, I hear nothing but good things about them.
Yeah, and I think they have another location in Joshua.
Do you? Okay.
There's a couple of little new restaurants in Joshua. And they're all pretty good.
There was Odom's Barbecue Shop, where the Thai restaurant is now. And
That's
Miss
where
Odom.
that's where my brother had his wedding pre-rehearsal dinner. Yeah.
I bet we were there because it was affordable and it was
And
a
the
nice
Odoms were
place.
great.
Mrs. Odom, got to know her.
Yeah.
And, and it was cheap. I'd get this what they call the po' boy, which was basically beans and chopped brisket.
Ooh.
And it'd stick to your ribs. You have that and
Yeah.
a big piece of Texas toast, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And it was affordable.
Yeah.
And there was also that malt shop that they owned.
Yeah, that was awesome too.
Yeah, and we'd go there sometimes, and Hayden loved it because he liked the food and he liked and the decor. You and that's those things I think we all miss. But they're not going to be there. They weren't going to be there forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like people retire, business change.
Grow,
Sometimes the owners had 50 years of it, and he's had enough.
Right.
And they'll
or the legacy ends. A lot of times it seems like you see a long, long history of these guys, father, son, whatever, and then they run out of them. And what do?
Yeah, and then other people take their place. I know that Gayla over at Southern Gym she will tell you, one of the first people to tell you how much she is beholden to the Willards. When they had their jewelry store.
Well, the Willards did a great business. Honest people. They contributed to this community.
And they recommended Gayla to their customers, and it really made her business take off.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the kind of thing we remember.
Yeah.
There's other places like that, but, people, I understand when they look back on Burleson and they look back on these things and think, I miss those. I wish we could have them back. Well, yeah,
we think that, but then if it was really
well,
you have to
like
grow.
I said, and things don't last forever,
right?
You like Dairy Twin, unfortunately.
I did like Dairy Twin.
Yeah, and there's some businesses that are still going. Fran's Flowers is still going. I remember dealing with them for years.
Oh yeah,
when I was doing homecoming related stuff, and. And there's other businesses similar to that have stood the test of time, so to speak. But, here comes Target, here comes H-E-B, here comes Sam's and all this other stuff. It's going to change your community. Yeah.
Well, growth has to happen. And you've got to look at, we've got a great economic development team in Burleson, and they're very, very forward thinking, and I think that has a lot to do with it too.
What would you want in Burleson that we don't have right now?
A Panera.
Panera.
Yeah.
I had thought there was going to be a Panera up on 1187 in the highway, but I'm not sure what's going on up there. I know there's a Longhorn Steakhouse going up and that kind of thing.
Hey, you know what else we have going up right by my house?
What's that?
That big old steakhouse. Yes,
that's right.
It's a monster. It's huge.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
You are?
You betcha.
Well, I tell you who else has really great burgers right next door is that Eagles. Whatever.
I've heard that too. I haven't been in there.
Oh, it's delicious.
I need to try that restaurant.
You do. They have a hamburger with barbecue, with meat, barbecue, and macaroni and cheese.
My carb count went right. Just listening to you.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's different. It's good.
There's that.
And Brussels sprouts that are excellent.
Okay.
No, it's strange.
Brussels sprouts.
You don't have to get the sprouts, but yeah.
I'll skip that part.
Okay.
But anyway, but I like the fact Old Town, and, of course, everybody's all excited about Razoo's opening, and then got Heim, of course, coming up very soon, and that whole plaza thing.
I love the plaza.
I do too. That's one of the best things this community's put together is that plaza.
Yes, except, you know what? You can't have at the plaza, apparently.
Why's that?
Dogs.
Well, I did not know that.
I get it. Well, I had a meeting with Joni one day, and we just walked down there, and I had the dogs, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Coming to meet you."
I guess they just don't want little poopies everywhere.
Well, the big dogs leave big
messes.
problems,
Okay,
and then they don't clean it up. So I get it, but it made me a little bit sad. So we just walk around the plaza.
And then that farmer's market, that's a
really good one too.
It's like a little carnival, little fair every day, every time they open.
Wheel.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that I could bring on Tuesday, and of course she's leaving the chamber.
I know, don't tell me.
Right, but that Memorial Day weekend with the honey tour, and then with the city putting together that little carnival with the Ferris wheel and all the other.
That was
rides.
Massive.
It was one of the best events Burleson's ever put on.
Yeah,
and I hope they do it every year.
I think they were planning on it. Yeah.
Well, and but these kind of things, I just think make our community better. I've talked to people from other communities, and they don't seem to have that.
Yeah.
That farmers market, they don't have something. They may have something similar, but not to that degree.
Yeah.
As far or these other events, and then Hot Sounds of Summer, and then all the stuff the library
Cool Sounds
does.
of Fall now too, aren't they?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So I love that.
And then you got your, you have the park system, which is really developed.
Really, yeah.
And the brick and the splash pad, and despite all its difficulties this summer, I was talking to Victoria about that, and they had some parts issues and all that. But I'm just saying there's so much more and so much better. You don't have to leave Burleson.
You really don't. Yeah.
When my kids are little, we go over to my nephew's town. My Robin's sister lives in Hearst, and they had like
that water park out there.
Yeah. We go to that all the time. Now we don't have to. If I had the kids that small.
Yeah. Did you freak out when you found out Burleson was a destination? That to me is bizarro because
yeah, I
good,
can
though.
see it though.
Yeah.
As far as something that I would want here, other than restaurants, I like my favorite Italian joint, other than Via Diane and Sammy's. I really do
they're
like
really
them.
good, yeah.
But when we were in Dallas, we always go to Maggiano's. And I knew over in North Park. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're suffering from our Italian food shortage because we have two really, really good places here.
Yeah.
And we'll see what others come in.
I like a food truck park too, like a regular.
I know they're trying to put something like that together. I've talked to the people at the parks about that and other shows. As far as a theater, we have that. I know in your day, did they have a bowling alley here?
Yeah, we did. It was so fun. And that was also the same place where the movie theater was.
Right.
And the guy that ran that place was always so fun because in high school, he was out there dancing in the lobby and all kinds of things. Was it Jimmy? His name was Jimmy.
Was it a place that got run down, or is it just it couldn't compete, or what? Why did the bowling alley go out?
No. Let me. The bowling alley was where Michelle's at.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then right next to that, where the and there's Texas Overhead Door, and then the other place that was the movie theater, and it had 2 screens. That was so fun.
Well, was a bowling alley like, I'm sure it had like pinball machines and stuff like that.
The bowling alley floor is still underneath there.
But why did it not make it?
That's a good question. We probably didn't have the amount of people with that kind of. I mean, everybody worked in Fort Worth. It seemed like in Dallas at the time. So by the time they got back to Burleson, it was just different times. I don't know.
But that's.
It was huge though.
I vaguely remember. I also remember the Pizza Hut.
Right there next to it.
Yeah, and all that. And so I hope people, when they're listening to the show, they can remember these things as well.
Yeah. Hey, if you're watching later or you listen to the replay, why don't you comment what your favorite places are that we don't have anymore?
That'd be good.
What you want to bring back.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. That'd be interesting.
I'd like to see some of that.
Yeah.
As far as other amenities, I mean, I think, okay, well, we got that now. Well, how about that? Oh, no, we have that now, too. There really isn't much that we don't have.
Really, there isn't, yeah.
With an Alley Cats coming in, boy, that's going to be big.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I tell you what, I can't tell you, but there's some really more exciting things coming in.
You can't tell me.
I can't tell you yet, but I will keep you posted. So when there's developments, I'll let you know. But yeah, you'll be seeing some neat things.
How do you know these things?
I just know things.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Also, that trade school they're building.
I think that's a great idea.
That's going to be a game changer for that part of the county.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where's it going to be exactly?
It's going to be in the west side of town.
Okay.
It's like near Chisholm Trail, near the tollway.
Okay.
It'll be in Burleson city limits.
Well, that opens up so many opportunities too.
Yeah.
With it being right there,
Oh, it's going to employ a lot of people, and it's going to bring in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Dairy. See, Taylor's on the first one. Dairy Twin. Okay, Taylor. Yeah.
Why don't you just bring sexy back?
Oh, Yvette.
Taylor loves me. I think you just postponed me for the next year from your show.
Nah. But we are, I guess, looking at the time. Yeah, I mean,
Look
we
at
just.
the time. Oh my gosh.
We're just running through all this stuff, and then, well, Taylor's got to go somewhere, I'm sure. I got to go to the store.
Okay, well, congratulations on your 4 years. You're kicking it.
Oh, okay.
I know, blushy and stuff and a bit all embarrassed, but you've done a great job. It's been fun to watch you.
I appreciate it.
I think if you would have mentioned podcast that many years ago, people would have said, what?
Fortunate in the fact that people in town support me both financially and with listenership, and they tell friends about it, and I've been very fortunate like that.
This is a town that shows up. I'd say 80% of the people show up for each other. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I feel like a very blessed person, and it's because of y'all vast listening audience. And
let's give Brad a hand.
Yeah.
Do we have one of those?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you. No, it's okay. So let us finish.
Well, what's going on next week is on Monday, it's 9/11, and I have Sherry Morrison from Castrol Oil Change.
Okay.
On John Jones? Yeah. Okay. And they do something for first responders, so that's a very appropriate day to be talking about that.
Yeah.
Tuesday at Wild, and then Thursday I have Debbie Beeman from Promises.
Okay.
And then the week after that, I have an open date. And then on the 19th, I have Victoria and Adam, like I mentioned, and the 21st is that Giving Day. So the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty good weeks.
Okay.
And I also have BISD back as a regular guest.
Awesome.
They're on the 26th, I believe, but they're going to be back about 7 months worth of shows.
Awesome.
Michaela Hill will set me up with that.
Thank you for having me on your show today.
Thank you for
always enjoy it.
Always being part of the show. I always enjoy your company on here. We got a lot to talk about, and
I was just getting started.
And you're pretty in pink here and all that.
Thanks. And it's not because of Barbie.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. next Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye.